Episode 721. The discussion group fell into another silence, everyone anxiously awaiting the final, accurate intelligence, while also dispatching more personnel to monitor the movements of Lord Grimm's main lieutenants. Those few had long since registered themselves openly under Lord Grimm. Their names were plastered all over every leaderboard. The reconnaissance went smoothly enough. Soon, one guild leader after another was posting smug emojis in the discussion group, each wearing the look of a scheme well executed.
Looks like everyone already knows.
The first to bring this intelligence was Che Chianzi.
Mount Omar.
Knight crossing the cold pond said,
Not bad, the Sunset Hunter. So that was his target all along.
Gu Ying said.
Looks like we can give him a surprise.
Che Chianzi chuckled.
This time, I'm definitely going to take him down a peg.
Right. We'll not only steal the boss, but make sure he gets a taste of a full white, too.
The guild leaders went off to make arrangements, their hearts swelling with joy. They wouldn't dare take Lord Grimm lightly. Every last one of them was sending their elites. Just how many people would be enough? After countless failures, they had long since lost the ability to estimate. In any case, more people is never a bad thing.
When does the Sunset Hunter respawn? I can't wait.
These guys are already dreaming of that glorious scene, making Lord Grimm suffer. How thrilling.
What if his target really is just the Blue Gold Knight?
Seeing everyone like this, Blue River felt a quiet unease.
That's right.
Yi Du Hantan, who had dealt with Yi Shu many times before, had the same premonition.
We match their elites with our elites, and their numbers with our numbers. Over in Westfall, we should gather some people too. He's just one guild, doesn't have many people. Each of us can spare a few, and that'll be enough. There's no one strong over there. Same numbers, we've got the upper hand.
Right. That way there's no chance of failure.
Gu Ying nodded in agreement. Over in the Western Wastelands, the leveling zone for the 50s, on the 10th server, levels 50 to 55 were the most mainstream bracket. As for the players in the club guilds, whether elite or ordinary members, they weren't the mainstream at all. Every single one of them was at the forefront of leveling speed. Most players were now above level 55, with the top elites already pushing towards 60. So when this batch of non-mainstream players showed up in the Western Wastelands, it didn't take long for the players to take notice. These players all bore the titles of major guilds, and their sudden mass appearance here made even the sharpest observers realize something big was about to go down. These non-mainstream players had already received clear orders from their guilds. Now scattered across the western desert, they waited for the boss to respawn while keeping an eye on Happy Guild's movements. The situation at Mount Omar on the other side of the map was much the same, just on a smaller scale. The vigil continued, but the boss was taking its sweet time to spawn. The players of the club guild were itching for a fight, but as members of a major guild, they couldn't just strike without reason, especially in a leveling zone where eyes were everywhere. The storm had been brewing for so long, you'd think the boss would show up on time, but its spawn rate was even less reliable than the weather forecast. The club players who had come with a purpose soon found themselves waiting in boredom. Meanwhile, the members of Happy Guild were plenty busy. They weren't here for the boss. The Western Wastelands were an ideal leveling zone for them, so they killed monsters as they moved, treating the whole trip as a leveling session. The morning slipped by, and the guild leaders glued to their screens had bloodshot eyes by now. They'd been pulling all-nighters. Normally, they'd be in bed by dawn, but Lord Grimm's little homecoming had them grinding through noon, dead on their feet. Seeing that the boss still hadn't respawned, the guild leaders exchanged greetings and pooled their intel, agreeing that their subordinates would wake them if anything came up. At 3:07 p.m., for the guild leaders of the 10 major zones who had only crashed afternoon, this was prime deep sleep territory. Yet here they were, getting ruthlessly yanked out of it. The startled guild leaders scrambled, demanding updates as they fought their way to their computers. Before they could even reach their targets, the news was already confirmed. The Blue Crystal Knight had just respawned.
Any movement from Happy Guild?
Every guild leader asked almost the exact same question.
Seems like there's no movement.
Just as I thought.
The guild leaders were quite pleased with themselves, immediately diving into discussion in their group chat. But before long, they found themselves facing a rather contradictory problem. They'd have to fight each other for the Blue Crystal Knight, but with so many of their own people already stationed there, none of the commanders dared make a move. According to the scouts up front, a makeshift pickup group is trying their luck against the Blue Crystal Knight and getting absolutely slaughtered. A wild boss was never something a pickup group could take down, especially not in a newbie zone with fresh players. So when those random teams started eyeing it, the guild leaders weren't worried at all. Their real competition was still the people in this very chat group.
There are quite a lot of people over there. If we start killing, it's going to get messy.
Shi Qianzi spoke first, but no one answered. Shi Qianzi took one look and realized those bastards had already slunk off to scheme. There wasn't a single soul left here. So he immediately fell silent and hurriedly contacted the Western Wasteland to get the full picture. The 13 guild leaders had each brought at least a full regiment, and now they were all gathered in the Western Desert. The Blue Crystal Knight and his cavalry were right beside them, having just finished off that wild team completely. At that moment, another group of leveling players oblivious to the danger began forming a party. The players from the 13 guilds still paid them no mind, their focus fixed solely on their true opponents. The standoff had to break eventually. After all, no one could just stare at each other until the end of the week. The one who strikes first doesn't necessarily lose. After all, no one knows what trump cards the other holds, or what schemes they've set in motion. Every boss fight is a game of parry and riposte, strength, strategy, and luck. Any one of them can tip the scales. In the Western Desert, it started with small skirmishes, then gradually spread. Soon, even those trying to sit on the sidelines were dragged into the fray, killing the boss while killing each other. One moment they were allies in a pact, the next, blades were drawn against each other. The boss's health was dropping, and at the same time members of every guild were falling one after another. As for those clueless random parties, if they had any sense, they'd clear out early. The shameless ones could stay behind as scavengers. Though the scavenging business wasn't exactly booming in the normal zones, the drop rates were nowhere near as generous as in the heavenly domain. Right in the middle of the chaotic slaughter, the guild leader suddenly received intel from a planted spy. Lord Grimm had issued an order in the guild. They were moving out toward the Blue Crystal Knight.
What? At this moment?
Everyone was frozen in place.
The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind.
On the battlefield, happy guild players spotted Lord Grimm's message and began converging in this direction. On the outer edges of the chaotic battle, players bearing the Happy Guild tag began to appear. 1, 2, 10, 20, 100, 200. These players weren't high level at all. Some hadn't even reached level 50, nowhere near the caliber of the major guild's members. But they had numbers on their side, and they stuck together. Just as the 13 guilds were tearing into each other, Happy Guild appeared all at once.
Stop, stop, stop.
Stop over there. Don't let Lord Grimm take advantage.
Someone in the discussion group quickly called out,
Could his target really be the Blue Crystal Knight?
Damn it, Omar Mountain people, pull back now.
Too late to turn back now. Besides, what if this is still a trap?
Everyone was tangled in frustration, stewing in their own misery, practically tearing their hair out. But at least they all understood one thing. If this chaotic free-for-all continued, Happy Guild was bound to swoop in and snatch the prize.
We're all here for the boss, no need to hold back. Let's take out Happy first.
Then Gu Ying suggested, and Che Chanzi said,
I suppose that's the only way.